This is Nightline and I'm Zahir. Kelvin Abdullah, news making the headlines. Malaysia to offer Islamic banking and Halal expertise to Kyrgyzstan. MACC completes Ismail Sabri's corruption probe. Good morning. Malaysia is ready to offer its expertise in Islamic banking and the halal industry to Kyrgyzstan to help develop more comprehensive facilities and services. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said his discussions with Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov focus on establishing Islamic banks to create stronger financial systems. For his two-day working visit to Malaysia, Japarov was accorded an official welcome at Perdana Putra and was greeted by Anwar upon his arrival at 9 a.m. Present were Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fadzil, Cabinet Ministers, foreign diplomats and senior government officials. Both leaders witnessed the signing and exchange of several memoranda of understanding in tourism, digital transformation and cybersecurity, higher education, health, trade promotion and economic cooperation, as well as an exchange of notes in the fields of youth and training for diplomats, as well as a letter of intent on legal cooperation. Later at the joint media conference at Complex Sri Perdana, both leaders stressed the importance of enhanced agency-to-agency cooperation in boosting trade and exports between the two nations.
This will all be further explored. Of course, you have this great capacity in terms of hydropower, green energy, renewable energy, which Malaysia would certainly be very interested to understand, study and also benefit.
Anwar said that strategic cooperation was essential not only to strengthen understanding and friendship, but also to ensure that bilateral trade, investment programs and projects will continue. On the international front, both countries agreed to aid efforts to reintegrate Afghanistan into the international community to ensure regional stability subject to close monitoring.
We did discuss some of the international issues. We did touch on Afghanistan with the intention to embrace Afghanistan into the international community. With certain, of course, observations. Share your views on that, because as a country closer to Afghanistan, you have better understanding, and we would certainly benefit from your advice and views on this.
In 2024, Kyrgyzstan, officially the Kyrgyz Republic, was Malaysia's fourth largest trading partner among the Central Asian countries, with total bilateral trade of 40 million ringgit. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission has completed its probe into the corruption and money laundering allegations linked to former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said the investigation papers had been submitted to the Deputy Public Prosecutor's Office for further action.
Setakat ini, Timbalan Perorangan bersetuju untuk memfailkan dalam tempoh mungkin 2 minggu setelah disediakan semua permohonan affidavit dan sebagainya untuk merujuk hakkan pertamanya wang yang pernah saya tunjukkan dahulu lebih kurang 170 juta ringgit yang diperolehi dan terpulang kepada Datuk Ismail Sabri sekiranya beliau ingin untuk kontes untuk mencabar permohonan kami itu.
As for pressing charges, he said it would depend on the DPP, but that a decision should be made within a month. Last month, the MACC said it would question Ismail's former son-in-law, Jovian Mandagi, as part of its probe into the ex-Prime Minister's declaration of assets. Ismail, the bearer Member of Parliament, had been called in by the MACC for multiple rounds of questioning since February this year. The MACC is investigating the discovery of about 170 million ringgit in cash and 16 kilograms of gold bars worth millions of ringgits seized in raids on the residences of 4 men and 3 other premises believed to be safe houses. Meanwhile, Azam said the MACC has also detected that at least 11 million ringgit in misappropriated sukuk funds meant for a highway extension project was converted into digital currency. The chief commissioner said the cryptocurrency was then used to make certain undisclosed purchases.
Wang disyaki daripada sukuk yang diberikan, di mana 11 juta ini dikatakan digunakan dalam bentuk digital currency yang telah dibelanjakan ke sesuatu perbelanjaan, dan kita sedang mengesan bagaimana wang ini telah dikeluarkan dan digunakan untuk penggunaan 11 juta ringgit ini.
Azam said 55 individuals have had their statements recorded, with 9 arrests made and 14 bank accounts totaling 156 million ringgit frozen as part of the probe. So far, the MACC has seized 141 million ringgit worth of assets in Malaysia linked to the case and is currently tracking 15 million ringgit in foreign assets. The investigation team is reviewing various documents, including bank records and recording statements from bank personnel to verify their contents. Previously, the MACC seized a condominium and a plot of land valued at 24.5 million ringgit, along with 9 vehicles worth 7.6 million ringgit and various luxury items belonging to the Tan Sri as part of its probe. At the same media conference, Azam said authorities in the United Kingdom have agreed to impose a restraining order on assets and properties worth 700 million ringgit belonging to the family members and proxies of the late Tun Daim Zainuddin.
Mereka juga telah memfailkan hasil daripada permohonan kita, restraining order yang kita perolehi daripada mahkamah kita ini, permohonan restraining order di UK pula. Dan ini satu perkembangan yang baru, yang mana pihak autoriti UK bersetuju dengan permohonan kita di Malaysia dan akan diteruskan di peringkat mahkamah di sana.
On Monday, the High Court suspended an order to freeze 7 assets, including 3 luxury residences in London and a bank account valued at over 750 million ringgit, believed to be owned by Daim's wife, Tok Puan Naimah Abdul Khalid, and members of his family. The MACC had previously obtained an ex parte order to freeze the same properties. Commenting on the suspension, Azam said MACC is awaiting a hearing involving 7 parties, including Ilham Foundation, which had applied to intervene on July 9th. The Court of Appeal has unanimously acquitted Syed Abdul Rahman of his corruption and money laundering charges. In allowing the appeal by the Muar MP, Justice Datuk Nurin Badaruddin said the appellant should have been acquitted without his defence being called during the trial. In her judgment, Nurin said the prosecution had failed to prove the ingredients of the predicate charges of abetting in criminal breach of trust and dishonest misappropriation. Nurin also said the trial judge had failed to appreciate Syed Sadiq's defence and had treated it as a bare denial and afterthought. She said there was a serious misdirection by the trial judge which warranted appellate intervention. Also seen in court were his parents, Syed Abdul Rahman and Sharifah Mahani Syed Abdul Aziz. Syed Sadiq was found guilty in November 2023 of abetting in CBT involving more than 1 million ringgit belonging to Bersatu Youth and another count of dishonestly misappropriating property totaling more than 120,000 ringgit also belonging to the wing. The former Bersatu Youth chief was also convicted on 2 counts of money laundering for transferring a total of 100,000 ringgit to his personal account from a company linked to the youth wing Armada Bumi Bersatu Enterprise. He was sentenced to 3 years jail and 1 stroke of the rotan on the CBT charge, 2 years and another stroke of the cane on the misappropriation charge, and another 2-year jail term for each of the money laundering offences. The Transport Ministry has revealed the names of 17 express bus operators and 11 commercial vehicle operators with the highest number of unsettled traffic summonses. Its Minister Anthony Loke said the disclosure serves as both a reminder and a warning to transport operators to reform their internal safety culture.
Kita tak nak lagi ada tragedi bas yang mengorbankan begitu ramai nyawa. biarlah tragedi yang melibatkan pelajar-pelajar UPSI sebagai tragedi yang menjadi pengajaran kepada semua.
For express bus operators, Cepat Express Sendirian Berhad recorded the highest number of active summonses at 540, followed by New Hoover Express and Travel Sendirian Berhad with 512, Kuala Lumpur Alostar Express Sendirian Berhad with 477, and Suasana Edaran Sendirian Berhad with 370. Among commercial vehicle operators, KDEB Waste Management Sendirian Berhad topped the list with over 22,000 summonses, followed by My Niza Mantap Sendirian Berhad and Advanced Con Mantap Sendirian Berhad. The five main offences were speeding, driving without a licence, technical violations, overloading, and operating vehicles without a valid road tax or insurance coverage. All affected companies have been given 14 days from Wednesday to settle their outstanding summonses. Failure to do so will result in immediate blacklisting of the vehicles involved. Malaysia recorded 51.5 billion ringgit in foreign direct investments in 2024, a 33.4% increase compared to the previous year. According to the Department of Statistics, the total income earned by foreign companies in Malaysia also increased to 99.8 billion ringgit compared to the 88.4 billion ringgit recorded in 2023. This rise was mainly driven by income from equity and investment fund shares, which amounted to 95.9 billion ringgit, and interest income of 3.9 billion ringgit. The country's cumulative FDI position increased 995.5 billion ringgit, up from 924 billion ringgit in 2023. The largest FDI inflow came from Asian companies, contributing 50.3 billion ringgit, with Singapore and Hong Kong being the main sources. Malaysian palm oil certified under the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil or MSPO standard is set to enjoy tariff reductions of between 20 and 40% in the European market. The announcement was made by Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani following the signing of the Malaysian-European Free Trade Association Economic Partnership Agreement or MIPA. The agreement was signed on Monday between Malaysia and the European Free Trade Association or EFTA, involving Switzerland, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein. Johari said MIPA is expected to bring tariff reductions for MSPO certified palm oil products, official recognition of the certification as a sustainability standard, and strengthen the country's commitment to transparency and traceability in the supply chain. He added that the agreement is crucial in enhancing the competitiveness of the country's palm oil industry in the international market and serves as a reference point for Malaysia's ongoing free trade agreement negotiations with the European Union. Additionally, Malaysia and EFTA members have also signed a joint declaration on sustainable palm oil, a move that directly enhances global confidence in Malaysia's palm oil supply chain. Indonesia plans to build its first nuclear power plant by 2034 as part of efforts to secure its energy future and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Energy and Minerals Resources Minister Bahlil Lahadalia said on Tuesday that the project forms a key part of the country's national energy strategy and will be overseen by the new and Renewable Energy Directorate General. He also revealed that Russia and Canada have formally expressed interest in joining the project, adding that a roadmap is already in place and that Indonesia must have its first nuclear power plant operational by 2034. The plant, which is expected to generate up to 500 megawatts, will be split across two locations, Sumatra and Kalimantan, with each region receiving 250 megawatts of capacity. Nuclear energy is seen as a crucial step in Indonesia's transition away from fossil fuels and is expected to help meet rising energy demands driven by rapid industrialization. 1.06 million ringgit worth of ecstasy seized. The details after this break.
Ayuh kita gegarkan Johor Bahru dengan konsert Jom Heboh sempena Hari Nenas Malaysia. Saksikan persembahan hebat selebriti tanah air seperti Jacqueline Victor, Nabila Razali, Amir Ukais, Wayne Carey, Azlan Typewriter, Drama Band, Tuju dan Lokabi dan ramai lagi. Dihostkan oleh Ayu Hot FM dan Hanif Miswan yang akan menggamatkan malam konsert kita. Meriahkan konsert Jom Heboh 28 dan 29 Jun ini di Padang B, Angsana Johor Bahru Mall mulai 9 malam. Jom, jom, jom!
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Thursday.
Thanks for staying with us. In Johor, a father and son were arrested with 1.06 million ringgit worth of ecstasy during a raid at a house in Muar. In the operation on June 16, the duo was nabbed while processing 6,389 grams of the drug using a pestle and mortar. The 49-year-old suspect has a criminal record with 5 prior offences, while his 23-year-old son has 3 previous drug-related offences. Their modus operandi involved packing the processed drugs into drink sachets before selling them. Police also seized equipment used to process and pack the drugs, a car and a motorcycle. Both suspects tested positive for drugs and were remanded to assist in investigations. In Perak, the High Court in Ipoh acquitted and discharged 3 men of a drug trafficking charge after ruling that the prosecution had failed to establish a prima facie case against them. Justice Datuk Bhupinder Singh Gucharan Singh Preet ruled that the prosecution had not proven that the 3 accused had control over the drugs found at a house in Taman Pinji Seni in 2019. The court said the evidence presented was insufficient to warrant calling the defence in the case involving labourers Muhammad Nazrin Hazim Abdullah, 35, Muhammad Suhaimi Ahmad, 42, and Muhammad Shafiq Shamsuddin, 38. The judge also highlighted discrepancies in the drug weight. The 3 were charged under the Dangerous Drugs Act with trafficking 1.14 kilograms of cannabis on November 17, 2019 at a residence in Taman Pinji Seni. In Pulau Pinang, the Magistrates Court in Georgetown rejected the guilty plea of an assistant lorry driver charged with assaulting a policeman at the State Police Headquarters. Magistrate Nurul Suhaila Baharin declined to accept 19-year-old S.R. Anggaran's plea after he failed to identify several photographs related to the incident. The accused was charged with intentionally causing injury to 31-year-old Ahmad Jabarul Yahya Arif by punching him in the cheek and biting his chest during an incident at the headquarters guard post at around 9:40 p.m. on Sunday. In the incident, the police officer had earlier stopped the accused and another man for a routine inspection on suspicion of being intoxicated. The duo were brought into the guard post for further inspection, where they allegedly became aggressive, punching the officer and biting his chest. The court allowed bail of 3,000 ringgit and fixed July 21st for case mention. In Perak, a 31-year-old man was remanded for 7 days over the death of his father, who was found with stab wounds to the abdomen at his home in Ipoh on Tuesday. Police picked up the suspect at his house in Taman Tasik Damai at 12:10 a.m. on Wednesday. The deceased, identified as 57-year-old Chang Kim Fuat, was found in a pool of blood in the kitchen at 7:30 p.m. by his son. According to the police, the victim's son found the house in disarray when he returned home and immediately alerted the authorities. Initial investigations revealed that the victim suffered stab wounds to the right side of the abdomen and slash injuries on the right side of his chest. Police also discovered a knife in the kitchen sink, believed to be the murder weapon. Checks on the house showed no signs of forced entry, although the front door was found open. The deceased remains were later sent to the Raja Permaisuri Bainon Hospital. Over 50 killed in latest Zionist violence. The details when Nightline returns.
Karnival Jom Heboh sempena Hari Nanas Malaysia akan ke Johor Bahru untuk warga selatan di Padang B Angsana Johor Bahru Mall 27 hingga 29 Jun ini. Dan jangan lupa meriahkan Hari Nanas Malaysia di booth Lembaga Perindustrian Nanas Malaysia. Ada banyak aktiviti, hadiah, selawat perdana, penampilan selebriti dan jualan lebih 50 produk berasaskan nanas oleh usahawan tempatan. Jom meriahkan Hari Nanas Malaysia. Nanas kita, kebanggaan negara.
Satria, Bangki. Bersedia semua ejen. Item terhad telah dikesan. Miliki semua koleksi barangan eksklusif Ejen Ali The Movie 2 sekarang. Lebih daripada 10 barangan hanya dalam satu harga. Pastikan misi anda berjaya mendapatkan koleksi terhad Ejen Ali The Movie 2 di wowshop.com.my. Jelajah filem dan aktiviti on ground sebelum terlambat. Bertindak segera!
Annyeong K-pop Jingle. Nak tengok persembahan debat dari artis K-pop popular?
Everyone, welcome to Korea.
Momen-momen eksklusif. Saksikan Sifri K-pop setiap Rabu hingga Jumaat 11 malam di Jam Sarang TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Top 5 carta muzik 40 minggu ini.
Onto the foreign front. Iran's parliament on Wednesday approved a bill to suspend cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA. The move, which still requires approval from the country's Supreme National Security Council, follows Iran's airstrikes with Israel, which sought to prevent Tehran from developing a nuclear weapon. Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bakir Kolibaf said Iran would instead accelerate its civilian nuclear program. Tehran, which denies seeking nuclear weapons, claims an IAEA resolution declaring Iran in breach of its non-proliferation obligations led to Israel's attacks. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said cooperation with the agency will remain suspended until nuclear site security is guaranteed and moves forward in line with the country's nuclear plan. IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi, however, said his top priority is to return his inspectors to Iran's nuclear sites to assess the damage caused by US and Israeli strikes and to verify its stocks of enriched uranium.
So this is number one priority.
Israel has confirmed the targeted killing of at least 14 Iranian scientists in what it calls an unprecedented strike on the minds behind Iran's nuclear program. Among those killed were chemists, physicists and engineers with decades of experience in nuclear weapons development. Israel's ambassador to France said the killing will make it almost impossible for Iran to build nuclear weapons from whatever nuclear infrastructure and material may have survived from the 2 weeks of Israeli and US attacks. The Israeli military said 9 of the scientists were killed in the opening wave on June 13. Analysts and European officials warn, however, that Iran's scientific expertise remains intact and that only diplomacy can provide a lasting solution to the nuclear issue. At least 51 Palestinians, including 14 seeking humanitarian aid, were killed and hundreds more wounded in fresh Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip on Wednesday. 12 were killed in a strike on Shijaya in eastern Gaza. Another 8 were shot dead while attempting to access aid in Netzarim. 10 others, meanwhile, died in separate attacks targeting residential homes and a refugee camp in central Gaza. In northern Gaza, 2 were killed in an assault on a gathering near the Omari Mosque in Jabalia al-Balad, while rescue teams in nearby Jabalia al-Nazla recovered 3 bodies and rescued 5 from the rubble of 2 homes in the area. Elsewhere, the body of a young Palestinian was retrieved from the rubble in eastern Khan Yunis, southern Gaza. Now, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas reiterated his full readiness to work closely with US President Donald Trump and relevant Arab and international parties to negotiate and implement a comprehensive peace agreement within a clear and binding timeframe that ends the occupation and achieves security and stability for all. With this, he said, Palestine can become a recognized, free, sovereign and secure country in a region that enjoys peace, prosperity and integration. He added that Palestinians are filled with hope and confidence in Trump's ability to create a new history for the region, restoring the peace that has been lost for generations. Sports now, aquatics, the 2025 Sea Age Group Championships in Singapore. National swimmers got off to a flying start, bagging 2 gold medals at the OCBC Aquatic Centre on Wednesday. The first gold came courtesy of Goh Lee Ji, who stormed to victory in the boys' 16 to 18 100-meter butterfly with a time of 55.64 seconds, narrowly edging out Thailand's Wong Sakon Patsaran, while the Philippines' Albert Jose Amaro took bronze. Lu Chengfeng, one of Malaysia's brightest young prospects, clinched the second goal in the boys' 14 to 15 50-meter freestyle, clocking 24.10 seconds to edge past Thailand's Supakpong Nunta Piawan and Thanapat Pinsanoa. Malaysia wrapped up day 1 with an impressive medal haul, collecting 6 silver and 6 bronze medals, bringing their total tally to 14. Moving on to football now, the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. English Premier League side Chelsea booked their place in the round of 16 with a comfortable 3-0 win over Esperance de Tunis in their final Group D clash on Wednesday. Enzo Maresca's men, who only needed a draw to advance, eased any nerves just before half-time when Tosin Adarabioyo headed in Enzo Fernandez's superbly delivered free kick. Moments later, new signing Liam Delap opened his account for the club with a deft finish in stoppage time. The second half saw Chelsea dominate possession and they sealed the win late on when substitute Tyreek George fired home from the edge of the box deep into added time. Chelsea, who finished second in Group B behind Brazilian side Flamengo, will now face Benfica in the next round on Saturday in Charlotte. It's Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at the defiant stand of Extinction Rebellion activists in The Hague, facing off against police during the NATO summit, a bold act of protest against the organization's escalating arms expenditure and its complicity in the war on Gaza. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.